What's good, Vigo's Court? How's everybody doing? You might notice that I am, in fact, not that one guy, D. Filling in, doing our thing. So I'm, you know, Judge Dark Wolf, and over there we have a chair. The chair's just hanging out. Q will be right back. He had to go do something real quick, but it will be Counselor Q with me tonight. And, we have a pretty exciting game. We have Sample Text versus Hex Girls. I know it's a little bit hard to see the Hex Girls logo, but I promise you it is there. So how's everyone doing tonight? I'm looking at chat. I'm seeing the love. How's everyone doing? Oh, fantastic. I love to hear the call back. But anyways, so, wow, we're already very far into Vigo's Court. You know what I mean? We are on week 5. Can you believe that? Like, if you count preseason, that's 7 weeks of game time. Like, wow. Week 5. And a lot of teams still haven't burnt out a lot of picks yet. They've only, there's a couple of teams who have burnt out some killers, but they're lower ones and not those S tiers that you're looking for, not really even A tiers. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens tonight. And now look at that.
I'm here. I figured it out. I'm sorry. We're all squared to go. But yeah, so it sounded like you're kind of talking about as far as how much availability we have on our killer side on, I think, both of our teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I was saying, like, wow, it's already week 5. So if you count preseason, that's 7 weeks of games already.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. It seems like time just flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And if you look up there, these teams are ready to go, and you love to see that, right? The anticipation, everyone wanting to just fucking jump right into things, But let's talk a little bit about who's playing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Hex Girls. I think it's gonna be a really good matchup for them against Sample Text here. Let's actually talk about the map we're gonna be on as well, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. Like, we're going to Coal Tower, the map everybody loves, right? It's pretty much the most even map. 132 square tiles, 8,448 square meters, 6 hook minimum, 11 hook maximum. This is a pretty balanced map, and for like S tiers, they shine on this map comparatively to any others, right? This is like Nurse's heaven.
Yeah, I really like it. It's a little bit of a smaller map, kind of gives you some good symmetry as well. You kind of have a typical, not really, I wouldn't say 3 top, 3 bottom, but you kind of have like a 3-2-2 sort of split. Sometimes you get a 3-1-3 sort of deal, but it's pretty good symmetry to you. Small enough where even M1s can shine, but yeah, S tiers definitely really thrive on this map, right? I mean, what are you expecting for us to kind of see here?
Well, let's switch over. I think they're ready to go, but I'm thinking that we're really gonna see, it's week 5, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see some S tiers come out here early. You know what I mean? You would think both teams might want to just try to, get this in the bag right away. Especially with it being Coal Tower, there's a lot of opportunity there. And we do have Hex Girls killing first, I believe, right? And I cannot read the name. Who's up there for killer?
Oh, that's Gramps. That would be the gentleman who actually,
the
Billy Man.
I love Gramps. I'm ready to see what he brings.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that I would like to see a repeat of the Billy, but I don't think you bring it out this early, and I don't even know if on Coal Tower. Also, keep in mind that these two teams, they're kind of like in the middle of the pack right now, so still can make a play and like making into the playoffs, really, if you get things moving in the middle of the season, but that starts with the win for either of these teams right now, right?
Right. That's why I think, knowing that everybody gets 2, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we see some really strong S tiers come out right now.
Let's talk about how our killer's putting up those points here, though, while we're loading into trial 1, shall we?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things. So first and second hook, 2 points each. Third hook, 3 points. Progressions are worth 1 less, all right? So you don't want those unless you really can't help yourself, 7th and 8th progressions, right? Those will give you 1 point each, and a 4K is an extra 2 points. So that's really what they're looking for, because the killers actually can max out at 30 points, and if they get an entity kill, you get the corresponding hooks plus progressions, right? So if they're on first hook, you get a hook and 2 progressions. Bleed outs are not worth anything, so you don't want bleed outs. And again, like I said, killer gets 30 points possible. For more information, do !rules in the chat.
All right, let's load on in. We're in here pretty quick, and we've got Gramps out, actually finding someone very early, finding Nightwolf here. We're out on the Huntress. I really like this pick here. Oh my goodness gracious. Two very, very sharp hatchets, and we already have ourselves a down. We are going to see that this is actually going to be a basement hook over here in the corrupt side of the map as well. This is huge for Gramps to start the trial.
Absolutely. I mean, that hit through that window. He knew what he was doing. That was perfectly timed. You know, he did not even hesitate. He expected it, and he kind of walked right into it for him, didn't he?
And honestly, this is kind of an ideal setup if you ask me, as far as for Gramps, because you do see has the 3 there on the bottom side of the map as far as those generators. Also has this mid-gen that you can see no one is working on currently. And that way you don't have to worry about the tower over on this side of the map if you happen to set up for a late game situation with this 3-gen on the bottom side of the map here, right?
Yeah, I actually think that this is probably one of the better RNGs for this situation, right? We do have a Huntress. She does. Oh, she unfortunately she only has 1 hatchet, so this is going to be a save. But if she had 2, that would have been different. But you know, the babushka Okaft is like, you know, Huntress's bread and butter, and to have this. BT saved her there, but you know, like you were saying, that spread is very good. The 3 corrupt right by the basement, and now, you know, Flawless is just going to go right back down there, and you're probably going to assume they have the deli, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would assume that that's probably who you had move in for sure. So wouldn't be surprised to see Gramps play this one a little bit more cautiously, as in staying a little bit closer to the basement, anticipating that. The problem though is I'm not sure if we've seen our survivors start working on that middle gen. We do see the middle gen is the one that is covered up by that deadlock, so it is the one that has the most progress, but I can't help but wonder how much progress is on it itself, because it doesn't sound like it can't be past 50%, right?
Oh no, I think I hear 2 pistons. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that's like 2, and this pop is going to bring that right back down right here.
Yeah, we're going to see that kick in there, and actually you'll also notice a little bit faster on the stomp there as well. That's going to help as far as once Gramps gets into chases here and tries to start removing some of these resources. Now, here's the thing. You had mentioned the potential of the deliverance. Oh my goodness. And but Gramps has to know that if Fang is staying this close to the basement and isn't going for the save, that this has to be a deliverance play, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they were trying to get them to pull away. There's the deliverance. He's gonna unfortunately get right by right now because of the There it is. So he's gonna leave him down there and wait that out. I think that deadlock gave him a lot of value though.
Yeah,
to save that mid gen.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, what a just disgusting shot around the tree. Now here's gonna be the important thing for our survivors is we did see a reset on that first survivor that we had came into interaction with after the basement down. Right now we're heading back that way. If the survivor isn't around, and you would have to imagine that Flawless is probably trying to the best of their ability to try and get away from the basement here. But we see this middle gen, it doesn't even look like quite to 75%, getting pretty close. There's Flawless getting up off of the ground there. Probably have to imagine that's thanks to the assistance of Fang, which does mean we have the 2 of them close, but Flawless now only just now being able to be healed. So really a lot of pressure right now by Gramps. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Billy was like something special, but I mean, his Huntress is very good as well. And as you said, I'm pretty sure Candy Cane went in for that recovery over there, and they probably backed up to try to get the heal on Flawless just to get away from this area. That's probably why they're not healed yet. But I do think Nightwolf is going to die on hook, and that's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to be the interesting thing as far as at this point. We do see the heal coming on a Flawless pretty well in unison as Nightwolf does get sacrificed there. We do have quite a bit of progress on this gen back here as well. 4th piston starting to pump a little bit there. We are going to see Fang retreating back. Nice hatchet here onto Candy Cane itself. So Gramps doing a good job of controlling the map. Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness, dude! Right down the wall, perfect.
That was.
And I think they were using resilience from Flawless. That's probably why they didn't heal so quick. Because that gen, as you said, is pumping pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if maybe if they were on that together, holding on to that heal until it was getting close to the time for that actual sacrifice itself. Because obviously, one, without with them progressing into the third stage there, right, you take away the extra point that normally the sacrifice is. But then also, they were trying to get another gen out of it because so far they've only gotten one. I mean, Gramps just killing it right now as far as this, as far as outputting the pressure. This is really impressive.
Honestly, I'm very impressed to see, because, you know, typically when someone is like really cracked at a Billy, they're not really playing like range killers, right? So to see him, you know, with this much, oh my gosh, through like
You
this
see
much
that?
ability, yeah, this much ability on a very different playstyle killer is actually like, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Gramps might be one of my new favorite killers to watch for sure.
Yeah, this has actually been really fun to watch. And you mentioned, I mean, it especially because it's like two killers that are very different. You talked about the range and the mobility here. And now at this point, we're taking chase with Glitzspire over here at the TNL. Glitzspire actually is going to go ahead and hold. Oh, I thought that was going to hit. It's going to go ahead and hold Shift W down. And now might be able to spread out here and maybe at least concentrate a couple of these gens down. I mean, it does seem like we have walked by a couple of gens here and quite a bit of progress all the way around. And it's been a little while since we've been able to hook a survivor, which means we don't have any Pop Goes the Weasel. We do sit here this one. That thing's just about ready to go. And at this point now going to be closing distance onto the Meg here onto Flawless. And if we can, I think Flawless has been hooked is on Death Hook. Will we be on Death Hook? Is that right?
No, because they got the deliverance and then he left them.
Okay.
But you know, I'm almost wondering if they're pressuring this gen to make him waste his pop, because that's 99. That gen is 99.
100%. Also, I'm wondering too if maybe you think it they're hoping maybe it gives a killer a little bit of like a false sense of security of still being at 4 gens, right? And then all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 of them pop kind of like next to each other, and then you feel like you're losing more control of the game. But it's a risky game to play. I mean, especially because we've already seen the pop come out from Gramps here. Also, keep in mind, our survivors do know of the deadlock. So they might have been trying to 99 it to try and pop 2 gens at once there with the deadlock as well.
That's what I think. I think they're. Oh well, there they go. They decided to just get rid of it, and that pop covered the one in the tower, which, you know, is a safer gen, especially against a player like the Huntress, right? It's gonna take her a long time to get up there, anyways. I think they go down right here. Oh, nice little dodge, but then they go down. I'm wondering though if Flawless is bringing them there to keep, because if you notice, they're bringing them down to the dead zone, right? Yeah, see, that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah, but notice that gen popped, right? And then the top gen was covered before that one was done. So that one's got to be pretty close to popping. And then the one in the corner, oh my goodness gracious. They actually might be able to fight this back.
I was going to say, I think they were planning the spread for the deadlock, which is very, very, very smart the way they did that. Because deadlock, they know that gen's going to open, right? And I'm sure that one's pumping pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about almost 75% on that thing. Yeah, that thing's really rocking there. And even you'll notice, too, I mean, they've pretty well spread all the way down the long side of the map here as far as the generator spread.
Right. I'm pretty sure that any 3-gen has been decimated at this point. So it's going to be a matter of, I think Gramps is going to take the next one he can and kind of make sure they die.
Well, the good news for you right now is at least Flawless, you know, is on Death Hook. And while that would be good as far as the extra point, if you can secure somebody else, and I think actually is Candy Cane the fresh? Candy Cane might be the fresh hook, or Glitzspire. I can't remember which one of them. But
I think Glitzspire and Candy are both fresh.
Well, we've got
right?
6 hooks altogether so far. So
Oh, is it
one of
just
them's got one.
Guiltspire?
Yeah.
It must be Candy, yeah. So Guiltspire is the fresh hook, and he's nowhere near the action.
But now here
So
you're
this
going to
will be
have Candy
second.
Cane going down. This is crazy, right? So Candy Cane is now going to be on death, or once she gets off of hook, will be on death hook. Flawless is on death hook and has not been healed, which makes you think either they are split up from Guiltspire and they're working and splitting pressure onto gens, and it is not. Oh, wow. There's going to be the 5th gen popping actually right there.
So this is what I think is happening. I'm pretty sure Flawless has resilience, so they're not healing him to get the extra gen speed.
And that would make sense, 100%. And also, I like the idea too of getting you split up there. That way, if you get pushed off one, the other one might be relatively close to popping. We do see Flawless resetting on themselves. Ooh, dead hard, but you are going to be right by the basement here, Guildspire. This is not where you want to be going down, my friend. And now Gramps can also keep an eye on the other hook as well. This could be a very, very, very spicy end game. We see no progress on this door. What do you do if you're Gramps here? Do you wait until Candy Cane is secured and then go back to get your other hook? Or do you go over here and check this door? What's your oh, actually, you've already found Megan. This is huge.
Yeah, I think unless Guiltspire has Unbreakable here, I don't think they have enough to do anything.
Gramps was trying to line up a nice little cheeky shot there, able to get the survivor up. Yeah, going to be able to, is going to be a down onto Guiltspire here once again. I can't help but imagine that since Megan came in from this side of the map over here, up, over here at like the 2-3 o'clock area, that this is probably already 99. I really like this play by Gramps. Obviously, if they had Unbreakable, they probably would have gone for it here. Oh, actually, there's no progress in this door either. No way.
I don't think they had the time. I think, it might be. This is gonna probably end up as a 4K. I mean, I thought for sure Guiltspire would have had Unbreakable the way he kind of took attention there, but I guess not.
Yeah, and just in the nick of time, able to get the 4K in the end game here. Really impressive by Gramps, honestly. I mean, a lot of very, very confident hatchet throws, showing a lot of good map awareness as well. You are going to be getting 2 progressions, so not getting them as far as like maximizing on your points there, but obviously you're not seeing any points going out the front door as far as escape points. So really a very, very strong showing and a strong start to the game for Hex Girls here on the backs of a really good trial won by Gramps.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing about Cold Tower, like I was saying, like it's a really, really good for S tier, but it's really good for anybody. It's a very balanced map, and any mistakes you make, either side can capitalize on, as we saw, because there was a definite ebb and flow during that game. Because at first Gramps had all the control, and then we saw those gens go bang, 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 and then he came back and pulled it back to him.
That was interesting. I'm not sure what happened with our transition there, but yeah, I agree. And I think that's one of the things that I like the most about watching competitive DBD is watching like the back and forth, because it definitely felt early on there like Gramps was in control, and then the survivors were pushing back so much like there in the mid game, right? And then Gramps just is able to retain it there in the end game. I think that's like those are the types of games that I really enjoy watching, honestly.
Could not agree more. I mean, I know we keep harping on it, but the ability that we saw from both sides, right? Mm-hmm. The pure, perfect understanding of where to throw the hatches. You saw that when he threw it right through the little crack in the shack, right? He threw a couple of really good attempted predictions, right? When he hit the one and they ran up the hill, he curved it over their head. It just barely missed them. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then for the survivors, right, to understand how Deadlocked worked and to use it against the killer. Yeah. Very, very well done.
Well, and I feel like, and that's interesting, right? Because I feel like you bring up a really good point, because we have seen that Deadlock has very much become like shifted into the meta here recently, right? Like since I mean, really, since it got allowed into comp, even I would say, I feel like it's been shifted above like pop and even to some extent, even ruin. And now kind of seeing survivors almost countering that back is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I've not really seen Ruin Undying combo since Deadlock came out. Excuse me. It's it's almost like they're like, oh, well, we get a lot more value from one perk rather than wasting two, right?
Right, 100%. Well, and I think the other thing that's really nice too with Deadlock is especially because you're almost always going to be running Corrupt Intervention anyways, right? Like, let's be honest. And we see time and time again, whenever someone takes the risk to not bring it, why they do, you know? But when you're running Corrupt Intervention, you're inevitably going to give up a gen. And if it happens to happen where that first one pops before Corrupt's up, then you only have 2 gens that you get a lot of information at that point, right? You only have 2 gens up. You can kind of figure out where to put pressure, especially if at that point you have a hook. Let's say you trade a hook for a gen, you see which one's covered, go put pressure on the other 2, and then you can kind of snowball some pressure there. It makes sense.
Yeah. But it is very interesting to watch how the team knew how it worked and made it ping pong where they wanted.
Right.
That was very impressive.
I think that there too also just kind of shows the job by the team to be able to be in good communication, because they never really seem to be on top of one another, right? Like, they're always working on different gens. When they do get pushed off a gen, the next time we come over to that gen and chase, it has so much more progress that someone came over and worked on it, right? Just really impressive communication on their parts, honestly.
Yeah, and I do, like, I thoroughly understand why they tried to 99 that one now, because they were hoping that another gen would pop and block that, like we thought, so then they could work on the other 2. But what ended up happening is they popped that, it blocked that, but they still had 2 others that they could do, and it really didn't affect them. And that just shows that they did all kinds of stuff during those couple exciting moments, right? Because it was like 1 or 2. The others were doing so much that we weren't seeing, but they were doing so much work.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like the really tough thing as far as in competitive, why like the first chase is so important, right? And not even just the first chase, but how do you follow it up with the second chase, as far as, am I at least exchanging it down by the time the reset on the unhook comes in, right?
Right.
Which is kind of, I don't know. Now I'm going to be really curious to see here, because we are going to see, sample text is obviously going to be going into the back-to-back killer sets here. And killers do, have the ability to score more points. And sample text, they have a pretty wide range of killers open. They have used the nurse once, but otherwise the rest of their like top 3 picks, as a lot of people are seeing them, Blight, Nurse, Spirit, all still available. Sample text still has some other, stronger picks that can be available as well. I don't know. What do you feel like would be? I mean, I feel like after a trial like that, do you change up your strategy at all as a killer, or do you just go into trial 2 as like if it's trial 1?
I'm gonna be honest. I think so. This is their map, right? So, knowing that it would be my map, I would be anticipating, because you play Cold Tower, everybody plays Cold Tower, and they know how even it is, right? So I would anticipate them kind of expecting maybe a 1 or 2 out from their side and not getting that. I think they pull, they probably had a backup plan for that, right? So if they got 4K, then they knew what they were going to put out first. And where that's the situation, I think they do bring out something pretty strong. I don't think a nurse, because if they are using one, they're not going to waste it here.
Right.
But Guild Spire is a very good killer with a wide breadth, right? That's what his whole thing is about. He's a variety killer that teaches survivors how to survive against killers, and killers how to kill against survivors. That's what he does. So he has a very good repertoire to pull from, and like I
Right.
said, Cold Tower being so even, it could be anything, honestly. Um, you know, I I can't really pick what I think he would pull out here. I mean, a demo wouldn't be bad, but he has to also think I'd have to get a 4K.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think what's going to be interesting moving forward for sample text, and this is what is going to be hard, I think, for some of the Macmillan home teams who are going to get used to, is a lot of them were playing on maps that if you're at home, it was kind of did make sense to bring out the S tier killers, right? You kind of benefit from that. Also, at the beginning of the season, we haven't seen a lot of S tier killers, but now it's like, bro, every time someone comes to Cold Tower, like you probably almost have to be expecting a S tier at least once, right?
I mean, you would hope. Just because they're so strong here. Blight and Nurse on here are nightmares. Like you better know how to dodge them or you're going down. Spirit, due to her kind of nerf, she's a little bit easier to kind of get around now.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you bring up Spirit because when I'm looking at the list, she's been used like barely any. You have one team who has used her all the way, and then I think otherwise, literally, she's been used twice. It's kind of crazy.
Right. I mean, I don't know who takes her place, right? Because people can hate me all they want. She's no longer an S tier.
It's funny. Actually, Shep said that during the 3:00 game, and I feel like that debate has become more of a conversation for sure. I think I would tend to agree because I think for S tier it has to be like, it's just I think it speaks volumes when you even have. I think we've had just as many Michaels as we've had spirits, right?
That's the thing.
It's
It looks
crazy.
like everybody's ready, so we can switch over. But I would say, man, that nerf hurt her, because her biggest mind game she can't do. It's not there. That was the one where you just don't move. You can't do that anymore because they get an auditory alert of when you're phasing.
Yeah.
So it's gone. So I think that dropped her down very far. She's probably still in the A's. I wouldn't put her in a B, but she's not as high. She's nowhere near as high as she was.
And I mean, she definitely was. I mean, she's still very strong in pubs, but when you're talking about at this level with a squad of people in comms who can communicate about where she is and which direction she's phasing, it's just so much information.
Right. It's taking a killer that had very, very little information and then saying, you know what, here, have all this information. And the whole thing about I don't know if they put it in or if they're gonna not put it in. I know they said something about it, but the whole kicking up dust thing would have been overkill.
Oh, 100%. While we're loading in here, though, the Hex Girls are looking to build their lead on the Survivor side. So let's talk about how they're looking to do that here.
All right, so Survivor rules, everybody. First and second gen, 1 point each. Third and fourth gen, 2 points each. Fifth gen, 3 points. So you don't get a whole ton of points from that, but you want to get your escape points. So first escape's 1 point, 2 escapes, 2 points, 3 escapes, 4 points, and your fourth escape is a whopping 6 points. So that's really where you're going to score. Escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, right? And you get bonus points for that, for each person. So that's 1 extra point for each person who achieves that. They're giving you a 26 possible points. More on rules, exclamation rules in the chat. And here we go. We're about ready to jump into this next one.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. I was hoping I could avoid the transition here on that. I think I'm just going to turn that transition off in between. But here we are, chat. We've got Guildspire out here, and we've got the Pyramid Head. I really like this play because you're probably anticipating it being faster paced with it being Cold Tower here. And obviously with the Executioner's ability to inflict your status and to be able to work around some of those unhooked perks like Borrowed Time and Deliverance and things of that nature. I like this pick coming out here.
I really do like a good executioner because his ability, I just find it so interesting if you go into any kind of lore, right? So the executioner, all his stuff is like negates everything to do with the entity. He's like, I don't need hooks. I'll put people in cages. And if I put them in cages, none of their perks work.
Yeah. And I like, I mean, here's going to be the big thing though, right? You're seeing here right now, we're working around the TNL, and right now you need to make sure that you're getting some hooks, and you need to get them very, very quickly, because you'll actually even see when Guildspire turns around, kind of an interesting 4-gen setup over on this side of the map. And we actually see that this portion, this gen right here, has been worked on quite a bit. And we only got about 30 seconds left until the, oh, I thought that was going to be a hit, until the Corrupt Intervention is up. Nice body blocking actually coming in from Nancy there, buying some extra time. Really nice play here.
Yeah, I think that was a very good move. I thought for sure he might have got both of them with that, rights of judgment, but Gramps is doing very well on Survivor's side as well.
Yeah, Gramps for MVP. Make sure we get the hashtag in chat, because Gramps really putting on a show, had the really strong performance. Now having a very strong first run here, and now we see Nancy moving in again, taking in the extra hit, prolonging this first chase here as well. And we got to be careful because we are working around an area that does have the basement. Nice pallet, though. That should allow Bill to now be able to get away from the basement here, and instead actually going back towards here, going to be able to get some more time. Really nice play here through and around Shack.
Yeah, maybe I missed it. Was that a dead hard play from Nancy? Because I heard her get hit again, but I don't know if that was, the dead hard validation.
Oh, no, she was full. I think she had gotten I don't know if she had a med kit or something. I thought she had gotten her med kit, because I thought I'd seen a health state change on that. We'll have to double check that when we get to the end, though. But a relatively really strong, I mean, I shouldn't even say relatively, a really strong run between Apply to Forehead and Gramps, mostly on Gramps' part, but obviously Apply to Forehead coming in with some very clutch plays here as well, trying to get the generator done in the face. However, 25% instant regression. Thanks to that pop goes the Weasel. And now we've got 2 injured survivors and a survivor on a hook. Guildspire in a really good spot right now.
And it just shows how quickly things can change. And I did just recheck, and they did get healed before that hit.
So we'll see here. Did they just try it? Oh, it wasn't in the basement. I thought they had done like a balanced landing play in the basement.
I thought they were doing a balanced play as well.
And then didn't come out of the basement. I was like, what are you doing? Actually going to get the save before second stage. And then I'm not sure if maybe that hit came in just a little too early, because I don't see any sort of a borrowed time hit or anything onto Gramps, but definitely a very easy decision by Guildspire here to go ahead and continue the tunnel out onto Gramps here. Gramps with the dead hard, able to get the distance here. Now should be able to work around this tile here. A little bit more time by Guildspire by trying to go for the M2s, but you don't have as good of a turn radius when you're using that thing there, homie, which, oh, with a nice blind as well.
I think Gramps is toying with him, honestly. He's trying to keep him there so people can keep pressuring everything else. He's doing a very good job of wasting Guildspire's time right now. And I do think it was a good idea for Guildspire to kind of drop that area at least, and, let him get into another area that he can probably benefit from. And we do see a lot of people getting healed during all this madness. So good on them. They're doing very well, and they're going to try to body block here.
Oh, not even needing to take the hit with the body block. I feel like right there you probably missed out on an opportunity, honestly, from Guildspire. So I feel like you just go ahead and at least hit the M1 and you get rid of the body block there, right? That way, at least you can go back to your chase here with Gramps, and that's actually going to be a nice hit onto Gramps here as well. And this should actually result... Oh, no. Actually, instead of resulting in a basement hook, I like this play. Obviously, it's going to send Gramps across the map. They're going to be relatively close to main building side. And as well as you aren't going to have to worry about any sort of decisive strike or anything or borrow time, thanks to the cage, right?
I think that I wouldn't have done that, honestly. Because it had been more than 60 seconds of chase, so there was no need to worry about it. but you get no pop value. That's why I don't think I would have done that.
True. Oh, I didn't even think about that too. Yeah, you don't get the pop, and also you would have had a survivor over here on your basement side that you would have been able to control on your hook. Now at this point, you have no idea the location on the Gramps, right? Like, yeah, you get a fresh hook onto Iridori here, which is nice, but you can see the survivors when looking around. They've gotten a very good gen spread. There's going to be probably a deliverance. One can probably can't help but imagine with how quick it came in there as well, also with the broken status too. But you can see that generator over here, man. That thing's got a lot of progress. That thing's just about ready to go. We only need one more generator left too.
Yeah, I kind of think you lost a little pressure there by putting him in the cage. I think if you hooked him in the basement, I think you would have got a little bit more pressure, right? Because they would have to come get him instead of being freely able to grab him out of the cage.
Yeah, that's a very, especially because you are on like the complete one side of the map, so it's not even like, I mean, you know that literally it's on the opposite side of the map of where that cage is going, right? And knowing how effective our team has been as far as on the objective, and I wouldn't be surprised if our survivor team here does a very good job of communicating where Guildspire is and makes it so they don't even see Gramps for the remainder of this trial, because that is going to be the third fresh hook, which is normally good as far as in the competitive scene because of the front-loaded hooks. But, we talked about heading into this trial, they're back-loaded hooks. So really it's the elimination hooks you want.
Right. You really, really need to try to... I think he's got that, like... I honestly feel like this is not a good position to be in. You got, what? Only Gramps, right? I don't think... Iridori was on hook, right? So she's got second stage. Forehead, I don't remember if they got hooked. I don't think so. So you just got... I think they take the 3, or they come in and stack body blocks, right?
Yeah, but I think you make the easy decision. You're giving up, you're giving up points, or you're making the killer give up points as far as their progression. You don't want to risk giving them any extra hook states. You also you have one fresh hook survivor getting out as far as apply to forehead, which is going to get you some of the escape point as well, the actual escape point as well. And I think it's just a really good decision here. Build your lead. Now you're looking at, as long as our score is up to date, there, a 24-point lead heading into halftime here. I mean, honestly, a really, really good spot to be in.
Yeah, I think that honestly, they did a really, really good job on that. They got the 2 extra points, right? Because Iridori only got hooked once, right? And then the other one, Forehead, never got hooked, so they get the point. You save Gramps from dying, and you kind of just give up the last one, and you take away 2 points. I mean, that's a pretty good way to go about it. And I think, like I said, I think there was just some questionable decisions. I don't want to say mistakes, just questionable decisions. I think I would have put him in the basement, I think, is what I would have done.
Yeah, I think when I saw it myself, I thought that was a play that makes sense as far as going for the basement play. I get where you're at. You've already spent a lot of time with this survivor in the first chase and then the following chase as well. So why spend the additional time going in the basement, maybe finding, because this conversation that we're have goes completely different if you put Gramps into a cage and then you get somebody down 15 seconds, right?
Right. I think if that was... That's the thing. So nobody was really around Shaq most of the time. They were only there to kind of, extend Gramps' chase. Other than that, nobody was there. It was just Gramps. So that means everybody else is on the other side of the map pressuring stuff. And I think you have to put them in there to pull them away from there.
Yeah, and I mean also too, and you had talked about it while we were in the trial, right? You also mentioned the whole point of the extra pop value that you get with the hook. You probably use that on your closer generator, or maybe you even get across the way, and then it means it's that much longer for that one there by Pride Rock to get popped, which means the trial is prolonged as well. So Yeah, a lot of interesting, and I think that's the thing, right? When you talk about when you're in the heat of the moment, like sometimes those decisions, like you have to make them at such a split decision, like a split moment. It's just hard to make the right one.
Yeah, micro decisions do so much. Like it's something small like that, like, oh, I'll just put him in a cage. But then like he was only in the cage for what, 5 seconds? Not
Yeah,
even. So like you just say, here, take this guy, and then you can do whatever you want with him. I don't need him anymore. So now there's no pressure. No pressure other than you going across the map to kick the gen, which I think you could have done if you hooked him. So I'm in it. It's an interesting conversation. I think if he hooked in the basement, I don't know. I feel like it might have taken a couple more seconds, but I think you go across the map, you kick the gen, someone else has to go get him, you down someone else on that side of the map, you hook him in your 3
right.
gen, and you got more pressure. That's what I think, but
So
it's very easy to say it from this side.
So while we're talking about it, we might have had some people who maybe were trickling in during that last match and saw that we did bring back McMillan, but let's talk about the actual map that we're playing on here today.
For sure. This is the lovely Cold Tower. 132 square tiles, 8,448 square meters, 6 hook minimum, 11 hook maximum. And that's his sample text home. 11 hook maximum. That doesn't really sound like a lot, does it?
I mean, I think when it comes to maximums, I believe 11 is one of the smaller ones. It's one of those, I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? Because we talked about how it is a little bit of a smaller map, but I feel like you don't notice the less hooks because it kind of corresponds with how close the gens are together. You know?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get to a hook on this map. Whereas other maps are, spread out a little bit more, so that's probably why they have more hooks. It just sounds funny, like 7 hooks or 11, somewhere in there. But it's interesting to think of it that way, right? It's a very balanced map, even with the little bit of hooks.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a little, it does make you have to worry about your death hook placement just a little bit. Just because sometimes we've seen where it can cause some issues in the past. But it's not terrible, which is nice. And you usually get, you have a couple of tiles that spawn. It's not a whole bunch of jungle gyms, so you're not working with a whole bunch on killer side. But a lot of your filler tiles are like not super strong, but not weak either. Like you have to make a mistake at it if you're a survivor, right?
Yeah, I think these are some of the more balanced runs, I want to say. Like, T&L walls can be overpowered or whatever, but I mean, like, the connections between everything here, it's not crazy, and it's not, like, super weak either. You know what I mean? But, so, all right. It looks like everybody's ready, so we're ready to switch over. But if you are sample text right now, right, what are you bringing?
I mean, I think right now...
You got a 24-point deficit. What are you doing?
I think the question is, how do you feel about the rest of your schedule? And just a real quick look ahead. After this week, you got Hookers, Immortal Alliance, Arctic Wolves, Hex Girls, Monarchy. So it's not not the strongest of remaining schedules that we've seen that's left. So maybe you can afford coming out with a Blight here, I think. And try and pull out a W, I think.
I think having Arctic Wolves, Monarchy, and Hex Girls at the end of everything, that's a pretty strong ending. So that's interesting. I think I would right now. I'd bring S tier.
While we load in, though, let's kind of talk about what some of the kind of balancing rules that we have here in Vigos.
Absolutely. I love to balance things. It makes it like a perfect seesaw. So yellow items and add-ons only. 1 of each item. No duplicates of any perks except for borrowed time. Okay. Banned perks. There are things we do not want to see here. Those built to last. Those prove thyself. Starstruck. Haunted ground. Lethal. No boons, no clairvoyance, none of that garbage. That's not coming in here. Killer use are limited to 2 a season. So no new characters from this update, no new perks or anything like that. And each character has to be unique. You can't have 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, even though we would love to have that. Anything else you might want to know? Exclamation rules in the chat. And let's see what we bring here.
It's going to be interesting. I get to see the pick a little bit earlier. And, gonna see Guildspire bringing out the cowboy here, the Deathslinger. An interesting pick because I feel like just in the competitive scene in general, we haven't seen Deathslinger a lot since the most recent nerf. We do also can't help but notice we have a split corrupt, which is kind of a feels bad man, but now going to be working with Quentin here around the TNL, while we also have another survivor moving in for the body block. That is going to be the Nancy here. But now you do have 2 survivors that are injured and just unfortunately clipped the edge of the wall there. I think that would have hit otherwise.
Yeah, the ADS nerf, I think a lot of people that don't main Deathslinger think, oh, that ruined him, right? But I have heard from a lot of Deathslinger mains that it helped him in his ability to zone, right? Because his quick scope is gone, but now there's the fear of, oh shit, he's not shooting yet. What do I do? What do I do?
Right. And now, you have the ability to move faster while you're scoped, which kind of allows you, like you talked about, the zoning capability. And it's interesting that you bring that up because we have seen some other zoning killers kind of become more popular picks as of late. Yet Deathslinger has still kind of sat on. Now, to be fair, Deathslinger was kind of one of those picks that you didn't really see too much of in the competitive scene anyways. But I mean, I even feel like when we talk about people who have been known to play competitive Deathslinger, like even a Wispy, I feel like we don't even see her bringing out Deathslinger as much anymore, right?
Yeah.
Nice down.
I think. Oh, that was a good attempt. Yeah, I think that he's fallen down the list a little bit. He was never really very high up on it, as you mentioned. But again, this map, it's not terrible for him. There's a lot of lower pallets, lower items to kind of get those cheeky shots off. And he seems to be doing a pretty good job with them. He's not really. Oh, look at that! That was a nice read. Just to wait for them to come around that tree. He knew they were there.
And part of that was kind of like you had talked about, noticing how we had held the scope up, something that maybe in the past wouldn't have seen. Oh, able to get the hit though through the. Oh, I don't know if you see this, but we've got scratch marks that are relatively close to us here. I'm kind of surprised to not see Guildspire going for the slug there, honestly.
I think what he's going to do is hook on this hill to protect this area a little bit more and force them to make some moves, because he's keeping pressure on them. Like, unless they are 99ing outlier gens, they haven't been able to get a whole lot of progress because he keeps popping things.
Yeah, that's true. And then also, worth noting here, after you get the pop kick and then after you get the next down, which Guildspire has been doing a very good job of keeping pace, of finding someone, putting them up on a hook, going, kicking a gen, finding someone else, putting them down on the ground. Then you get that extra value from the eruption as well, which now we're going to see you're going to get 2 gens now armed for that eruption if you can get yourself another down here relatively quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And eruption is like one of those really interesting perks. I like the concept of it. I don't know. This is like an unpopular take, I guess, but I almost want that to be 90 seconds where survivors can't work on it. Just because I feel like 60 seconds of them not being able to work on a gen, they don't really care. Then they just go take chase.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, but yeah. I don't know. I also like the instant regression. I mean, we did see, I can't remember who it was, but they were out on a Freddy running the
nice
pop
shot.
eruption combo last week. Had a very, very strong performance on Dead Dog, I think it was. I think it's from Demise or Demise, one of the two of them. But we do see 2 of those gens obviously now getting affected by that eruption there after another down. That's going to be hook number 2 onto Iridori here. So Iridori does have the ability to be tunneled out once they are removed from this hook here. And you are noticing that the survivors seem to be doing a very good job as far as avoiding the 3 gen on the top side of the map here, but really trying to attack the middle gens first. I think trying to make sure they can set themselves up for a late game sort of situation.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I know what's going on here. I don't wanna ruin it, but yeah,
Survivors
that's
know
what the
already.
yeah, they are. He was definitely waiting, so that he didn't have to hit him twice.
Yep.
So he didn't have to, lose very much of his save the best for last value right there.
Yeah, especially because he's done a very good job so far. You'll remember that's the first time that we've seen Grams, and you've only hit them once, right? And you have gotten 5 hooks. So Guildspire, a lot of that save the best for last value thus far. And going to be interesting because we see only 2 generators done, and as the trial continues to go on, and as we do have that, though, that save value being relatively high up there. Now also we'll notice on this corner gen that had almost 75% progression, now getting regressed instantly 25%. With that pop goes the Weasel here. And, I think I was kind of wary of the Deathslinger pick, thinking they should come out with an S tier, but Guildspire doing a really good job thus far in the trial, putting up some almost S tier like results.
Yeah, and he's doing a very good job of like isolating the area he doesn't want them to work on, right? Like he's continually come back and pop and regress these specific gens. Try to hang on to this 4 gen down here as long as he can.
Yeah, I mean, Guildspire definitely, maybe that was the reason that we saw Guildspire lead the last lobby as well. Had to go do a little quick rain dance to RNGesus to get a little bit of extra help as far as in trial number 3 here, because we do see a very, very generous 4-gen situation that you were talking about. Now working towards the L portion of this TNL wall. It is linked towards a jungle gym here, which can be used together. Actually, that is where our survivor decided to do, opting to go this way. We are also going to see that pallet thrown relatively early. Now Guildspire is going to opt to break the pallet here, but only 1 more gen needing to be complete. And very nice dodge by Nancy here. Keep in mind, we do still see all 4 survivors being in play here, and they have played themselves into a 3-gen, but they do have the ability, with it still being a 4v1, to split pressure on these gens.
Yeah, they're actually doing a very, very good job. I feel like that was a rush shot, honestly, but they're doing a very good job of kind of teasing him, right? Like, hey, I'm over here, and not allowing him really to pick who to go after.
And I would agree. I think what we're seeing right now is maybe almost I wouldn't say almost. This is definitely a little bit of the pressure coming out here, right? We had seen earlier that Guildspire had done a very good job of lining up, zoning out shots. Oh, instead going to be getting the hit onto Gramps. So we are going to see Guildspire just going to go on ahead and allow the break right there. That way we can go ahead and stay filled up onto those stacks. But now things get interesting because we are taking chase away from our 3-gen setup. This is going to be another hit onto Gramps there. That is also going to be a eruption pop across the way, but that is going to be generator number 5 getting complete. And this isn't even a death hook here. Our survivors could still be looking at a 4 out.
Yeah, I mean, with the lead that they have, I don't think you risk it. I think you just go. You take what you can, because you got that door all the way at the bottom. So I think you just leave out and you say, okay, we're leaving. Take the 3, have Gramps, have a good day, because it's gonna put so much. I don't know if they can come back from it after the end of this. We'll have to see what the score comes out to be.
Yeah, I mean, as at the point right now, you would have really liked to have been honestly able to put some extra pressure probably in the later part of the mid game, especially seeing as we do see the save or the deliverance play on Gramps. Not sure which one that was, but we might be seeing the door just about ready. Might be seeing a body block coming in. Oh, that's a missed shot. We might be seeing all 4 survivors getting out here. That's 1.
Yeah, that was the second win because Gramp was on second hook. So
2.
That's everybody.
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna be all 4 out. That is tough here. And I do believe that should be Hex Girls, I believe, wrapping up a decision here. We will, of course, still be playing out a 4th trial. Um, it's been really fun watching the Hex Girls progression. I feel like here in the last like what 3 weeks almost.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't really like to like pick on one person or whatever, but I really feel like Gramps is stepping up on both sides for them. He's really, really doing a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, we did see, Grams did have that very impressive performance on Killer today already, right? Grams also had the impressive Billy performance last week. Video available on my YouTube, by the way, at YoBoyQ on YouTube. But also, also just having the very strong Survivor runs as well, right?
Right, that's what I mean. Like he's allowing them to do so much, right? By intentionally he ran that second round. Like I'm not saying the rest couldn't have done it, but I don't know if it would have been the same because his movements was very, very killer smart. You know what I mean? Like he's a killer, obviously, so he's versed on what he thinks they're gonna do to him.
Right. Well, especially too because we have seen that he is very versed in a wide killer pool too. So like his killer knowledge isn't just general game and map sense, but even down to like killer specific stuff, which obviously will then in turn make you a very strong survivor. Agreed.
Right. And I think that was their plan. A lot of it seemed to be you go get hit, doesn't matter who it is, you go get hit, take the chase, and then we're gonna come body block so that you don't go down, and then we're gonna leave and then heal, and we're gonna do it again. Just try to last long enough for us to heal. And that seems to be, it's a good tactic, honestly. Teams that body block tend to do a lot better than teams who don't. Because it's very, very easy to extend those timers and allow other people to pressure gens, right? That's the name of the game, right? You want to not go down early, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, especially I think we see from, I would say like newer people getting into comp, you'll tend to see where they, I would say more avoid like bringing in the second body for a protection hit, right? Because they feel like, hey, I could just be on a gen somewhere. But by making this chase longer by involving a second person, it makes it easier to guarantee 2 gens getting completed instead of just 1, right?
Right. I agree. And I tell people the same thing all the time. It's a numbers game. So by taking a hit and not letting someone go down, that's extending those numbers for you, right? Because if they get down, they get hooked, that's 60 seconds, you have to do something. But if you extend the chase so that they can keep working on a gen, then you don't have to worry about that 60 seconds.
Right.
And it shows, right? So especially when teams come in for like double body blocks, like one person will go in, take a hit, and then immediately someone else will take the hit while that other one's getting healed. Like that's so much value in in the survivor's hands, is really taking time away from the killer. It's like, well, you're gonna have to run this guy a little bit longer because we're not gonna let you down him.
Right. Yeah. And well, it's interesting because like one of the first teams that comes to mind, and I hate to like try and put anyone up against what a lot of people would consider one of the top teams in the world, but I feel like when you watch Agony play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're constantly seeing a second person coming in and taking a protection hit, yet the gens are always flying. You know what I mean? Like it's a very weird concept of I always see half the team, yet the other half of the team seems to be working as if there's 3 of them on the gen. It's very strange. And I feel like we're seeing other teams kind of starting to adapt that play style, at least more like the upper tier, I feel.
Right. And the other thing too, we saw it in the second trial, right? Sometimes just taking the body block, you don't need even to get hit, right? Just like take up space so the killer can't move that way. And then a lot of the times the killer doesn't want to waste the time to hit you because then they know that animation time is going to allow the other person to get away.
Now, here's going to be what's interesting is for Hex Girls here. I see that we're bringing in a different killer. And what actual killer choice would you be? What do you feel here? Because at this point, you can kind of try something new.
So what I think might be happening, that's because at this point they can't lose the game,
Right.
no matter what happens. So I think here they might be just trying someone out on their killer. Say, hey, go ahead, see how you do, and then we'll, if you do good, we'll save that for later.
Because it is
'Cause
a
I know
killer
that
that
I've been in
we've
that
seen in
situation.
comp before. Like, it's not like it's a new killer, right? Like,
Right. I know that in COTF last season, I was in that situation. I really wanted to just at least play one killer game. I just felt like it. And we were at a point where all I needed was one hook, so I played, and just to get that little bit of reps in. So I think that this is going to be an interesting one. I don't think they're going to bring anything crazy. I don't think it's not even worth being anyone above a B, I don't think.
well, I would say especially so looking at Hex Girl's selection so far this year already, or this season, I should say. I mean, you've already used the Blight ones. You have, let me make sure I'm going across here. You have already consumed both of your nurse picks if you're Hex Girls.
Wow, already?
Yes, and you have not used Spirit, but so yeah, you've used Blight once, you've used Nurse twice, and we're in week 5 here, so I would say that your last S tier picks and probably a lot of your A tier picks you're going to be trying to save as much as possible. Are we good to switch here, by the way?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay.
I think it's interesting too because not every team is gonna have like a really, really crazy nurse, right? So maybe that's how that ended up getting consumed early. But I do know they now have Jazzy, who is a pretty good nurse, so and that kind of feels a little bit wasted on them, but
Big feels bad, bro.
right? I think Jazzy comes out and just does something fun, something, maybe even a Legion, just to say fuck it.
A Susie or I mean, I think the I think the court
Basement Trapper
would enjoy it. Basement Trapper. I'm also trying to think of kind of looking at some of their other uses who would make sense here. That would be like you're not using someone strong, but make sure you're at least bringing in with something. But we have seen Trickster come out twice. Maybe we see a third pick of a Trickster for this season.
I know I say it a lot, but Hack does really good on this map too.
What the heck?
No Hag love. No Hag love.
No.
All right, let's what else we got to talk about for the people?
So last time we went into the trial, we kind of talked about some of our rules and regulations and balancing things, but if any of those rules or anything were to be broken, there are penalties. So let's kind of talk about them.
All right. Just follow the rules, guys. It's not that hard. So, matches with penalties may be played out, restarted, or both. I know that sounds a little confusing, but it's definitely possible. 2 of the same survivor, banned perks, item on an add-on is -5 points, and a possible restart. Try not to do that. Wrong map, -5 points, and an auto restart. Harassing the ref, bringing players not on the roster, etc. -10 points, no restart. Using exhausted killer, -10 auto restart. Delaying the game, -1 point for every minute over 5 minutes. For more information, exclamation rules in the chat.
And we are going to be seeing a rather shocking killer pick here. As you'll see
what you did there.
Cookies, as we do see Jazzy here coming out and going to be going with the doctor, memeing around a little bit here with the early hit onto Guiltspire. Was that Overcome we just saw? Is Overcome allowed?
I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I was saying I saw a lot of this is being built. I wasn't sure if it was enough to be Overcome there, but we are going to see Jazzy is out with the doctor here. And we are going to see taking the chase on the top side of the map here. We are going to be able to secure the very, very early down. And this is going to be on to Guildspire. We're going to be opening up main building as well. That way we can make sure if we need to go up to the top of main building later to check on things, we can. But now at this point, are just going to see Jazzy, and we're going to kind of see what we can kind of get as far as info here. Only one aura reading. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really need to do much, right? So they're probably just trying to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, very true. And we are going to, one thing I do like as far as this map here, we talked about how it is a little bit smaller of a map. So obviously with his big static blast, you are going to, generally speaking, get a little bit more value as far as auras, as well as also tiering people up into that madness, which of course you get some of the added benefits as you get them a little bit further tiered up as well. But right now I think a pretty easy decision for Jazzy to just stick around here and confirm second hook.
I would agree. I mean, like I said, they already won. They don't really need to do anything. So just, put them to death or second state and then go do something else.
I mean, you'll also notice on this side of the map, right? On top side, we have our 3-gen. I think we also have a middle gen to kind of link together. So, I mean, you've got yourself a nice little gen set up right now. If you're Jazzy and you've got a hooked survivor in the middle of it. So, gotta be feeling good.
No, it's not.
Huh?
It was just a question. Can you switch over to survivor's perspective for a second? Yep, just keep going through. Yeah, no, okay, we're good. Yep.
All right, now we are going to be taking chase back over onto this top side of the map. We're going to be seeing a lot of scratch marks. We, again, kind of bringing up really good 4-gen setup over here on this portion of the map, which got to be feeling good about here because you're going to be able to control not only that hook that we did have, we are actually going to be relocating Guildspire here as well. Guildspire going to be forced to drop a lot of these pallets here, which is going to be a lot of resources getting removed from the trial, which works in Jazzy's favor here, right? Because then you're going to be, if you need to later, it's just like you can just go around and basically start pallet stomping, and there's less thing for the survivors to use on this top side of the map at this point.
Yeah, I think that's not what you want, especially on the survivor side, but I think he's kind of forced them into it, right? He's not allowed anyone much safety, right? I mean, it's doctors, so you obviously gonna harass people and cause them some annoyances, right? But he has not really had to leave this area.
Yeah, our survivors have definitely done a very good job of making it so Jazzy has always had something to do over in this portion. Worth noting that generator number 3 that did get complete was the middle-ish gen that did kind of link together with these top side 3 generators. So the 4-gen now being broken up. Still a 3-gen though over on this top side of the map. There's going to be a down onto Candy Cane here. And this down is going to be over here on this portion of the map where you are still going to be able to basically just patrol your 3-gen over here. Another fresh hook here does mean that you're going to be spreading your pressure here as well. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see Jazzy kind of go and start removing some of these pallets.
Yeah, I think this is where he doesn't even really need to. So I don't think he needs to do that.
Oh, so we big vibing right now.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't care. Have your pallets. I don't need them. Yeah. I haven't seen him kick anything. He's not really cared to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point here, right? And also, now we are going to be taking this chase here over towards the shack side of the map. Good body block now moving in from Flawless here, trying to give Candy Cane just a little bit more time, especially since Candy Cane is also, I believe, the survivor that was on a second hook, meaning they could be tunneled out, which is kind of surprising to see Jazzy come this way. Of course, spreading the pressure here just allows you to kind of get more loop work in here, show a little bit more of what you're able to do. They should be able to get the down here before the pallet. Yeah, it's going to be a down onto Flawless here, but again, just going to be able to recycle these hooks here on this top side of the map, but just kind of keep pressure by our gens.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, he got a really nice spread down here that he, like, again, he has not really needed to leave. And then being doctor, you can pressure a lot of it, but it's interesting to see what they choose to do and how they're trying to work against the doctor right now. As he's just, it's being doctor, man. I mean, he doesn't have to leave. He gets free information from, his specters and all that. So, he does not care that they have that 1 gen over there. Go finish it and leave me my 3 gen.
Yeah, very true. And also coming back across the way here, finding Guiltspire once again. Now I'm going to be taking this chase back across towards the bottom side of the map here. And I believe at this point we have just this one pallet I was going to say, but it actually looks like we're not going to be able to prevent Felix from dropping it there. Now just going to be able to get the down. I think we have another survivor in the area. Yeah, it's actually going to be the Megan that was located. I believe Megan's the one that has the flashlight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can see the banger there in her hand. Was trying to get a little cheeky save there onto her homie, but instead has been located here. And I think now should just be an easy decision for Jazzy here to get this pickup because you have pushed Megan far enough away. But I do believe that gen that just popped does indeed can break up the 3 gen here on this top side of the map. So gonna make it a nice, let's say easy process for them to get the 5th gen complete. But down to the 3v1 situation now, just making a play for the door. You will notice there on the right, though, I don't know if you see it, but I see it.
Oh, I see it. And they're going to know it in a second. And I would expect that they expect it as well.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have any Ruin or Undying come in. And actually, that had to have probably been a wake-up play, I would imagine, there as well. Nice firework, though, to get the blind. We are going to see 1, 2, 3 out the door. Really good performance to wrap things up here. And I mean, even with that last trial kind of being a little bit more of a relaxing round compared to the other 3, still a relatively good performance as far as on the doctor itself. I really feel like, we said it earlier, I just feel like Hex Girls has honestly come a very, very long way in these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think, as we said, Gramps, his ability on killer is definitely shown. And, adding Jazzy was not a bad thing either. Jazzy's a very well-known killer in the DVD community. And for them to be able to grab someone like him, it definitely gives them a little bit more relaxation, I would say, on Survivor side. Because you hate to see a team that has like really good survivors and lacks in the killer department, or vice versa, right? You want to have some sort of a balance there. And Sample Text did very well on that map too. Don't take it away. They did very, very good. It's just, Hex Girls just did a little bit better. And I think it started with that 4K in the beginning.
Yeah, I think Gramps definitely, you talked about it, right? Like, Gramps has definitely really seemed to have become, I don't know if he's like the shot caller, so to speak, as far as on the Survivor side, but definitely seems to be the team leader just as far as, being able to go on the long runs on the Survivor side pretty consistently. We have now seen Gramps have some very, very impressive killer performances on a wide array. And what's going to be interesting for a Hex Girl, looking ahead, now obviously moving up to 3 and 2, so they are now going to basically be flipping spots as far as within the Mangled division of the whiteboard, because Sample Text was just above them. They do have Monarchy in their division, which is going to be pretty tough for them. They did start off against Monarchy, and they do end their season against Monarchy. But from here on out, you have Outlaws of the Fog, 6, 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, Sample Text, Entity, and then you end with Hookers and Monarchy. So really these next couple weeks, I feel like if they continue the trajectory that Hex Girls have been on lately, I think 6 will be a challenge, but I think they're going to be well ready for, like Monarchy by the end of the season.
I'm sure they would hope that they are, as you said, you keep seeing the improvement week after week. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Vigos and such. It's just watching teams grow. It looks like we're ready for Iridori in the interrogation room, though.
Ooh, we've got Iridori joining us in the interrogation room. Hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've had a quite nice night myself. How are you guys?
Oh, fantastic. So tell me, how were you guys feeling after, Gramps' 4K in the first round?
We had we were really happy seeing Gramps' performance. Because Gramps is a Huntress main, which might surprise some people because his performance on Billy was really quite amazing. But
By the way, if you guys
got...
missed that chat again, that's on my YouTube at YoBoyQ. Just saying. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
He has 8,000 hours playing competitive FPS games, so Huntress is like his go-to.
The center of the screen just is like it's a laser beam for him, is what you're saying.
Yeah, for him, playing Huntress is his just go-to. That's his bread and butter. So we knew that he was gonna probably do pretty well. We were even happier to see the result.
Yeah, during that game, I didn't want to say it, but he definitely seemed like a Huntress main by the way he was predicting and his ability to hatchet drop. That's a very hard tactic that people who just play Huntress for playing her don't understand. The ability to throw a hatchet and know where it's going to fall, he was very good at that, and that kind of spoke to that Huntress main mentality.
So Iridori, I have to ask, what was there a moment between like week 2 and 3? Was there something that clicked, or was it just kind of like the team chemistry finally gelling together? And because we've seen, I know you guys obviously didn't have the start that you wanted to against Monarchy and IA, right? Taking 2 losses, but then you guys have been on a tear since then. What's been the secret sauce?
We've been actually, as of late, we've actually been practicing less, because almost everyone on our team has finals or work, because most of us are college students. So we've been having to do a lot of very precise practicing, and because either somebody on the team already knows the other team, or the other team is like a big name like Demice. Like, we already kind of knew what to expect, so it made practicing for those games even easier. So I think a big part of that is getting our practicing down a little bit to something that doesn't feel like we're going in there with an entirely blind eye, and showing up a little bit more prepared than what we might have shown up with at the start of Vigos.
I like it.
Yeah,
and
having
I feel like with every
tailored
season,
practice.
with every game. Yeah, and I feel like with every game we're just gonna get more and more precise with, predicting what the other teams are gonna be bringing, and having a better idea of how they play, and learning from that.
That's one of the nice things about, like I was saying, I said this last week, I believe, but having the VODs, right, to be able to go back and just look at what worked, what didn't work, areas of improvement, things that might have done a lot better than you thought that you didn't really plan for, and to be able to see what other teams are doing and either mimic that or use it against them.
Yeah. We were lucky enough to that Jazzy has played with sample text before, so they already knew a little bit about the team, so they could tell us going into our practices, like, hey, Guilt is a really good Deathslinger, so he's gonna probably bring Deathslinger, and so that was one of the killers that we wanted to practice more towards against.
Yeah, it showed too, because like we were saying, you don't see a whole lot of Deathslinger very much at all, like before or after his nerf, right? There was people who were like crazy good with him. You saw them, but like overall, you didn't really see him. So to know that that was a possibility and to practice against, because it's like I say this all the time. All the S tiers, most teams know how to play against them, but then you bring out some random killer, that's when they suffer because they don't have the practice against them.
Right. We wanted to make sure that we had covered all of the bases that we thought were plausible, and thankfully it seemed to work out.
How did you guys feel on that last round, knowing that it was already over?
We wanted Jazzy to go something that was fun and still exciting to play and watch playing. So even though Clown was thrown around a few times, we wanted to still bring something that was fun for everybody instead of just some of the people spectating.
Right.
So we wanted to bring Doctor because we knew Doctor was it was fun for Jazzy to play. I'm sure it was fun for the other team to play against. I enjoy playing against Doctor, and I'm sure that it was enjoyable to watch Doctor being played.
I enjoyed it. Before we get you out of here, is there anything that you want to say to the fans of Sample Text or Vigos or anything like that?
I want to say thank you very much to Sample Text for the amazing games. And Hex Girls looks forward to playing the next 6-7 weeks of Vigos.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Like I was just saying that like it's already been 7 weeks from preseason to now. That's
Wow.
crazy. It doesn't feel that way at all. But to like 7 weeks down, 7 weeks to go.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's kind of crazy to think about it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming in and talking with us, and we look forward to see what comes next. I have a request.
Yes.
Can you guys make a new logo so we can see it?
We sent in a new version of the logo. That should be a little bit more visible.
Perfect.
I love it because I was just like, it's like I feel bad because I feel like, oh, nobody can see their logo. Come on, because you guys are doing so well.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta have something to show for it. But again, keep up the good work. You guys obviously are having enjoyment doing what you're doing, and like you said, you don't need to practice all the time as long as your practices are quality.
Yep.
Right.
And tell Gramps I love him.
I will.
All right, Iridor, you have yourself a good rest of the night.
Thank you, you too, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us tonight. What's that?
Man.
You gotta do that thing though.
So, everybody, tonight, Hex Girls will be convicted of murder, 78-51 against Sample Text. Such a great game. Don't forget, we have more games coming, all right? So stick around, not tonight, but pay attention. We got more stuff for you all.
We have
This
games
is not anywhere near the end.
tomorrow, and I believe we have, after a reschedule of a game, we have a full slate tomorrow. I believe now we have games at 1, 3, 6, and 9 now. Let me double check that here for you guys before I go giving y'all some wrong information. I do know that we had filled in the 3 o'clock hour for tomorrow. Yep. Otherwise, we do have 1 o'clock, a 6 o'clock, and a 9 o'clock here. So make sure y'all are here. If y'all are here and y'all haven't already done so, make sure that you hit the follow button, turn the noties on. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't catch y'all here tomorrow, y'all have a good weekend. And the next time we do catch y'all, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true. Be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right, that's Fear. I'm Q. You guys have
And make sure you check out Q's YouTube because he has some really good clips coming, so you guys don't want to miss that stuff. All right.
Y'all have a great night. Peace.
Bye. Take care of each other.